All right, so treasure system. A lot of you have been asking about it. We have somebody, Mr. Rael. Rael gun on Discord. So if the math's wrong, you guys can start blaming him. But Mr. Rael has done the math for us to kind of simplify it. Before I move any further forward, I'm kind of assuming that you guys have learned the basics of the treasure system. I explained it on this video, so if you guys haven't learned the basics of the treasure system, it's in here. This is more talking about how to min-max like your EXP gain ratio, and then I'm also gonna talk about later on my goals on which ones I'm gonna aim for. First things first, you guys have to realize, please do your solar raids. Solar raid first time clears, you get these collection item boxes. Make sure you do at least your clear 7 your first time clears, because you get these collection item boxes. For ours, these are randoms. You got 1, 1, 2, 3 SR collection item boxes on stage 5 and stage 6. That's also RG. But then stage 7 is a selector. So for those that wants like a specific character, yeah, this is the last one, is a selector, and that's for the first clear. You still want to do it daily because it does give you a lot of these maintenance kit boxes. So you guys want to do these daily still because these are important EXP. All right, so let's break down what you guys are seeing right now, because this is basically oh, you guys are probably getting overwhelmed here, but it has been broken down based of how much percentage you get for each phases, and then like what are the chances if you feed a tier 1, which is the blue EXP. So in this situation it would be these blue things, that is the tier 1s, and then these tier 2 is the purple ones, and then the tier 3 are the elite maintenance kits. So this one is the blue, the purple, and then the tier 3. As you can see, pretty much whenever you feed the yellows, which is the tier 3s, it's 100% super chance success rate. The TLDR on this is whenever you're in the R stage, you get to plus 15 using blues and purples, and it's suggested to go from R first instead of jumping to SR immediately. And then what you do is you use your blues and purples there. Once you're plus 15 on the R, then you do the conversion. Here, you're plus 15. You click this change, and then you will do the conversion from plus 15 R into plus 5 SR. So that's what you want to do. And then once you're plus 5 SR, then you start using yellows, basically. That's a TLDR on this. But to kind of explain how he kind of did that, there's the conversion efficiency ratio that he had on this column on the H and the I. And this H is when is it more efficient to use the gold versus the purple. And whenever it's less than 2, then it's more efficient to use the purple. And then when it's like around 2, then it's like roughly equivalent to use the purple. As you can see here, for example, in this R phase 5, it takes 2 tier 2s to 50%, and then this for the yellow, it's 100%. So that's when it's like roughly equal in terms of EXP. And what you want to do is basically whenever it's less than 2, you want to use purples. As you can see, almost on everything here, you do want to use the purple, as you can see. And there's gonna be random situations. So for example, in phase 2, 3, and 4 on the SR, then that's where purple is still kind of a little bit efficient. Now, this side here is kind of in the same way. This is between blue and purple. This is when you would use blue over purple, and when it's like less than 2.5, basically you want to use blue, and there is no less than 2.5. So you pretty much don't really want to use blue, but then where are you gonna use blue, right? And so the best position to use the blue is on the Rs, because these values are kind of lower just on average compared to these ones in here. So it starts at SR 3. SR phase 5, it's like 3.64 and then goes higher. So really the most efficient place to use your blues would be in here. Now you can totally do the purely gamba rate to it. You some of you are feeling lucky. Maybe you wanna get that 3.6% chance feeding the blue starting on SR. You know, that if you guys are feeling lucky, go for it. If you want to do it, at the very least, like what my plan is, and a few other people that I know also, their main plan right now is to do this. Basically, this is the TLDR, which is to start with an R and then convert to SR once it's become plus 15, because it becomes a plus 5, and then that's when you start using your yellows. So do we always equip blues if we have purples already? I think that's the plan that I'm gonna go with also, and it's just a little bit more percentage wise. Now you could totally, if you really want to, right, like you could totally just RNG your way through it, like if you believe hard enough, right? But if you can see here, there's a expected amount of tier 1 to material to super success, right? So from R phase 0 it's 5.7, and then from R phase 5 it's 6.3, so that's like 12, and then from R phase 10 plus 6.9, 7, so that's like 19 to super success from R's. So that's 19 tier 1s. Meanwhile, if you start from phase 0 SR, the expected tier 1 materials, instead of 19, it's 27. If you just look at it from that perspective of just like the super success chance, it is better and more efficient to go start from R2 and then we get to plus 15 and then switch to SR. So we do R15 to SR5 because it uses less material. That's the general, on average. What's the most efficient way to farm the balls? So you guys have really there's only really two sources right now to farm the dolls. And unfortunately, there's this, which is the dispatch, and then the solar raid that I talked about just a while ago. So the dispatch, so for those, some of you are probably interested in clicking this reset thing. You know, they're trying to min-max it, so you want to get these maintenance kit boxes and then the elite maintenance kit boxes and then these. Mr. Rael also did the calculation for that. Thank you, Mr. Rael, again. But he gave different weights on the items, and in theory, the 2 gold random boxes, which is this one, which is the 5-star of the maintenance kit boxes, is worth 220. And then the 2 gold EXP boxes, which is this one where there's like 2 elite maintenance kits only, is 200. And then the 3 purple EXP boxes, and then the 2 random purple boxes, and then 1 gold random box, and then 1 gold EXP box, and then 2 purple box. On average, the gold random boxes should be worth more, but it's up to you if you want to do this clicky refresh thingy. This is for the EXP, yes. For me, I do a little bit of half and half now. So initially I was like re-rolling for these collection, and I'm doing like half, some EXP and some of the collection, right? Primarily I'm doing this collection item also mainly because we just don't have like the dolls right now, but at the same time also, right, we're getting a good number of dolls from the solar raid, so the first clear for the solar raid. So hopefully I get lucky on these and start doing them, and I'll get like the ideal ones, but it's gonna take a while. So it's gonna be a little bit of mix of EXP for me, and that in the long term though, I do foresee that we might have too much of the dolls. So, but then like maybe not enough EXP. So yeah, am I gonna be aiming for Laplace favorite item? Okay, so let me talk about the way I see it. Is the most value is really either Laplace or Exia right now because of what they will get from the treasure. For Laplace, she is like a DPS, and phase 1 and phase 2 does give her a good number of power spike, in particular phase 2 also. And to get from phase 1, once you get the SR, this SR, just the SR, once you get just the SR to plus 15, you will have the quest, and then once you finish the quest, she will become phase 1 by default. And then to get to phase 2, you need 50 EXP item. These EXP items that I mentioned before, you just need 50 of these for phase 2. And then from phase 2 to phase 3, you need 110. For me, I would just get to phase 2 and then I'll probably halt from it. And one of the reasons also is because you do get like random item from these. From the reward info here, you do get these miscellaneous box, and this is random. It's percentage chance. You're gonna get extras also all the way, and then I don't, right? Like what would happen if once you're phase 3? Like I feel like this would end up getting wasted. And another thing also is that Laplace's phase 3 doesn't feel like it's as big of a damage increase. The main thing for it is it's getting the hero vision from 5 seconds to 15 seconds, which what it primarily does is for phase 2, because your burst becomes 5 seconds to 10 seconds, you know, her laser beam. What that just means is she has an extra 5 seconds of these true damage of the hero vision while she's shooting. So she does have a longer burst buff. Second part is for Diesel. I actually think that Diesel has one of the nicer phase 1, and then phase 2 and phase 3 you don't have to, because in phase 1 you do get pierce damage, but you don't need phase 2 or phase 3. So what I'm saying here is you don't need the EXP for her. Phase 2 will make her tankier, and phase 3 makes it so that the phase 1 buff will constantly come up more often, and then you will have more often on the reload. That requires you to have her burst, but with phase 1, I kind of foresee her that it's possible to not use her as a burster. She could be just like a side buffer. She's regenerating the ammo capacity and pierce damage. Yeah, so in terms of Diesel, I don't think you need the EXP as much. So, and that's why I'm leaning more towards Laplace and Exia, where Exia is the other one where she is going to benefit a little bit more. She does buff the electric allies, and she gets a little bit more damage buff for herself. And then in phase 2, she gives like damage taken increase. This is where the phase 2 is a little bit more useful. For phase 3 on Exia, this mainly just makes it so that she can be in a bit more flexible team because of how phase 1 works. And the reason for this phase 3, some people might be a little bit confused, is because sometimes when you do have over 110% reload speed, you end up having max infinite ammo, right? And when you have infinite ammo as a sniper rifle, that means you're not gonna hit the last round of bullets. But then if you're not hitting the last round of bullets, that means she's not gonna be starting to proc this phase 1 buff. So what phase 3 does is primarily making it more consistent so that she can keep up that buff. But if you have Summer Anise and Privity together, you just need to make sure that she's not equipping the resilience cube, and she can still basically have this. So the phase 3 doesn't feel as important, but maybe someone else can prove me wrong otherwise, because this is primarily just the fixed reloading speed, and that situation will happen of unlimited ammo even without resilience will be on Crown plus Summer Anise plus Privity. So there has to be like almost like 3 buffers on that or something. So so for Exia also, phase 2 is kind of like the ideal on her. And then the last one is Freema. And the main reason why I kind of put Freema in a lower priority is primarily because she buffs true damage, but there's not really any other true damage units other than 1, it's gonna be her once she gets this, and then 2, it's gonna be primarily Laplace. And then 3, the other thing also why this is kind of a little bit rough, and actually this is also why it's gonna be a little bit rough for Exia and Frima, and that's why I went with Laplace also, is because they're also sniper rifles. Sniper rifle is a little bit kind of competitive right now. You have Red Hood, you have Maxwell, you have Alice, there's D, Helm, right? Like, meanwhile for rocket launcher you primarily have Scarlet Black Shadow. That's really the main competition, and so that's why right now the most possible one in terms of that would be Laplace and Exia. But then again, Exia is also sniper rifle, so there's other sniper rifles that she is kind of competing with. Yeah, right now in terms of favorite items, I think I am gonna be working on Laplace first. I'll slowly work on Exia and then Diesel after that. But the thing is, by the time I finish Exia, or like maybe get to work with Exia, they said that it's gonna be every 2 months, right? Where we're gonna have new character for the rework. So maybe there's another new character that we could be working on also.